Rinkwide Vancouver, pregame, postgame, every game presented by Bodog. From sports odds to free casino games, make a play at bodog.net. Wad and J-Pat back with you once again with another edition of the pregame show. As it's over, J-Pat, all 5 games now. This comes to an end in Carolina. Will they get a win, though? That's the real question as the Canucks face off against the Canes in Carolina.
I've seen and talked to you an awful lot this week.
Yes.
5 games in 8 nights. Started in Winnipeg last week. We do pregame, postgame, every game. We were doing postgame after the Florida loss last night, and here we are right back at it. Quick turnaround, 22 hours between puck drops in Sunrise and in Raleigh, and maybe the toughest test of all here, saving the best for last. I don't know if that's good for the Vancouver Canucks, but 0-4 on the road trip, 6 straight road losses, 1 win in their last 8 hockey games. People know the numbers by now, so you just wonder, what are they going to have left in the tank as they pull into Raleigh on NASCAR Day?
NASCAR.
Raleigh, North Carolina. Apparently, I don't know what that means, but that's the way they're billing it. Canes have changed their logo to have the colors of NASCAR, and of course, that is NASCAR country in that part of the United States. So it's NASCAR Day, and we'll see if the Canucks go round.
You can only turn left.
Yeah, maybe.
All right, let's get to the lineup change, which is presented by Delaney's OK Tire out on Fraser Highway in Langley. Expecting a change in goal today, right, for the Canucks?
Yeah, let's lean into this NASCAR. We'll call this the pit stop, if you will.
All right.
Yeah, and maybe they jack the team up and get in there, do a quick change. I have to think Colin Delia is going to be in goal. Spencer Martin played last night in Florida, and he was fine. He allowed 4, which is an improvement for him and the team over the bulk of their games of late, but Colin Delia does have the Canucks' lone victory in this dark stretch. He was in goal the night that they beat the Colorado Avalanche 4-2 over a week ago, so I would think with back-to-backs and at the tail end of the trip that this is going to be Colin Delia. Canucks don't have a lot of spare parts. I believe everybody got through last night's game healthy, but they did have Sheldon Dries and Kyle Burrows as extra skaters. Maybe they plugged them in at the end of the road trip. Not necessarily difference makers, but hey, some fresh legs and a little bit of energy. I think the Canucks could use any sort of boost that they can get. So we'll have to wait until closer to game time to see exactly what Bruce Boudreau has in store for the Carolina Hurricanes later on today.
Speaking of Bruce Boudreau, could this finally be it for him?
You do wonder, is this Bruce's last stand? Certainly enough smoke swirling around this hockey club, the rumor mill churning into overdrive. Tough situation to have people talking about your replacement waiting in the wings, but this is life in pro sports, and it's not always fair. I know Bruce Boudreau trying to keep his head down and just plug along, and today's a new day and another opportunity. That's how he views things. But yeah, if this goes sideways for the Vancouver Canucks with a few days off before their next game at home against Tampa, perhaps this is the last time Bruce Boudreau is behind the Vancouver Canucks bench.
It went sideways the last time the Canucks played against the Canes as well. They are fully aware of what Carolina is capable of.
Yeah, and you'd look at the scoreboard and you'd say 3-2. Well, that doesn't sound like it went sideways. Look at the shot clock. 39-16. Yeah. Carolina toyed with the Vancouver Canucks. JT Miller had both goals. That was back in October when the Canucks weren't winning hockey games. Not that they're winning hockey games right now. So we say this is going to be a tough test, but this Carolina team, it dictates the way most of its games are played. And you saw that night, just didn't give the Canucks anything, controlled the puck. I remember talking to Canuck players after that loss. They all marveled at just how well the Carolina Hurricanes played. So I think that the Hurricanes get respect around the National Hockey League. They certainly did from the Canucks that night. And that's why we say this is going to be a challenge for the Vancouver Canucks as they round out the road trip.
This is the last lap for the Canucks on the road trip. How much fuel, though, do they got in the tank?
All right, this is good. See, you are leaning into this NASCAR thing. I think it's fair to wonder now. Well, we've seen a fair bit of frustration along the way, stick slamming and bench doors getting slammed and those types of things. We heard from Quinn Hughes after the loss in Tampa Bay. You could hear the emotion running high in his voice as well. So I think it's fair to wonder, what do they have left mentally? What do they have left physically? It's been a lot of hockey in a short span. They continue to score enough goals, but they just can't prevent them. And of course, the penalty kill, a disaster all season, took another step backwards in Sunrise, Florida, giving up 2 more power play goals. Canucks penalty kill enters this game dead last in the NHL at 66.1%. So checkered flag on the road trip, but you do wonder, are they starting to raise the white flag on the season?
Let's focus in on the Hurricanes for just a moment here. Back-to-back for them. They played Pittsburgh last night, edged out a W, but let's see how much fuel the Canes are going to have left as well.
Yeah, it is back-to-back for them, but of course, both games at home, they got to go and sleep in their own beds and turn around and get right back at it, and they won, and winning usually produces that energy you're looking for the Canucks. Obviously, it's the other end of the spectrum there. 2-1 win over the Pittsburgh Penguins. They swept the Penguins in their season series, so they take all the points available off Sid the Kid and the Pittsburgh Penguins. Both their goals coming from defensemen last night, and this is crazy, but check this out. 7 of the last 8 Carolina goals have been scored by blue liners. Jalen Chatfield, you remember Jalen Chatfield, played 18 games for the Vancouver Canucks. Hadn't scored a goal prior to the season. He scored in back-to-back games, has 4 goals in his last 11 games, and so he seems to have been found a new home there and fitting in seamlessly with this Carolina hockey club. But boy, the Canucks have to be on guard because this Carolina defense corps right now is now the highest scoring blue line in the National Hockey League in terms of goal generation.
No surprise, really, though, because this Carolina team is a legit Stanley Cup contender.
Yeah, it's interesting. You look at the way they're built. They don't have a 20-goal scorer. They don't have a 40-point guy. But you know what they do have? They've got the Metro Division lead. They've got the second best record in the National Hockey League. They are 4th best when it comes to goals given up. And oh yeah, they have legitimate Stanley Cup aspirations. So it is a true team through and through. You do wonder if the absence of a game breaker, I think that hurt them last year, and maybe that will hurt them again, but there's still time ahead of the trade deadline. Maybe they're looking over at 53 on the other side. I say they don't have a 20-goal scorer. And of course, if you missed it after the game last night, they changed Elias Pettersson's goal to Bo Horvat. So the captain is up to 30 on the season, 200 in his NHL career. Yeah, maybe there's a fit for Bo in Raleigh, North Carolina. Whatever the case, it's already a very good team. And they do think that this could be a year that they get it right come playoff time.
Let's get to the stat that stands out, presented by Jason Hominick at jason.mortgage.
Yeah, all right. So here we are. We're talking about all of the obstacles in the way of the Vancouver Canucks. If they fall behind, and there's a pretty good chance they're going to, it just makes the challenge that much tougher. No team in the National Hockey League has opened the scoring more than the Carolina Hurricanes. They've done it 28 times in their 43 games. Their record when they open the scoreboard or open the scoring, 21-4-3. So just file that one away. Canucks are going to do whatever they can to get the first goal. In fact, they've scored the first goal in their last 3 hockey games. It hasn't mattered. Last night, they got a gift from Sergei Bobrovsky on the Jack Studnicka goal. That didn't help them in the long run, but they have opened the scoring here, but not many teams have done it against the Carolina Hurricanes. Again, 28 times the Canes have put a dent in the scoreboard first. We'll see if they do it again against the Canucks. That's the stat. Well, that's the stat you need to know. Brought to you by our buddy Jason Hominick. And again, if you have any questions about your mortgage, if you're looking for one, if your renewal is up, reach out, jason.mortgage.
Let's get to my best bet now. I am focusing in on shots on goal, in particular for one player, Martin Necas. He's second on the Canes in shots on goal with 146. He averages 3.4 per game, but I say he's going over that mark, over 3.5 at plus 124. I'm going out a little risky on this one, J-Pat, because of the law of averages there, but I like the value. And also, I got one win on this road trip. I'm beating the Canucks, but honestly, I'm falling behind in the standings.
All right, I got a little Marty Necas tidbit for you. And it's weird how this works with the schedule. Second year in a row that Martin Necas and the Carolina Hurricanes are facing the Vancouver Canucks on his birthday.
Oh!
Last year it was his 23rd. I think this is how it works. This year it's his 24th. So yeah, we'll see if it's a happy birthday for Marty Necas and the Carolina Hurricanes. And shots on goal are interesting to me because no team permits fewer shots in the National Hockey League than the Carolina Hurricanes. So again, that's just adding. We've thrown out all these incredible stats about this team. Again, it's just showing you what the Vancouver Canucks are going up against this afternoon.
All right. Who in this game do you think is going to do something?
Yeah, I mean, the Canucks will take any contributions from anybody. It has to be a team effort at the end of the line here, but Ethan Bear was peddled by the Carolina Hurricanes to the Canucks back in late October. The Canucks have been happy to have him. He's played 32 games. He has a couple of goals and 9 points. He's had his moments. You just wonder if maybe he gets that little extra turbo boost going back in to to Raleigh against the team that dealt him away. He's played in that building before as a member of the Edmonton Oilers and, of course, as a Hurricane, but hadn't played a game this season before the trade. So he goes back in there. Lane Peterson was the other part of that trade. We'll see if he's in the Canucks lineup. Had a bit of a tough go last night in Florida. But I'm looking at Ethan Bear just to bring that energy, maybe to up his game just a touch, and we'll see what kind of afternoon he has. I'm not expecting him to have a hat trick, even though we talked about all the goals that Carolina gets from its defensemen, but somebody, anybody, just to kind of rise up to the challenge here, to be the leader, to help the Vancouver Canucks rise to the occasion here. It may not be enough in the end, because the Carolina Hurricanes are one of the best teams in the National Hockey League, but Ethan Bear going home, if you will, looking at him to do something to help the Canucks wrap up this road trip.
All right, this puts an end to the 5-game road trip. Let's see if the Canucks can get a W against those red-hot Canes. This has been another edition of the Rink Wide Vancouver podcast presented by Bodog. For Jeff Patterson, I'm Andrew Wadden. Remember, Rink Wide is the show that always scores.